Story 1. The Watcher in the Snow. It was Christmas Eve in 1998 when the Jacobs family drove to their secluded cabin in the woods, miles away from the nearest town. For them, the isolation was a blessing, a break from the crowded city, with only the whispering pines and fresh snow as their companions. But that year, the peace they sought would soon turn to terror. As night fell, they gathered around the fireplace, sipping hot cocoa and sharing stories. Outside, the snow fell heavily, blanketing the world in a pristine, eerie silence. Their youngest daughter, Lily, was the first to hear it, a faint scratching noise at the window. Probably a branch, her father Tom said dismissively when she brought it up, but Lily insisted. "No, Dad, I saw something. Someone was watching me." Tom tried to reassure her by checking the window, only to find nothing but darkness outside. Yet the feeling of being watched lingered long after he closed the curtains. Hours passed, and the family settled in for bed. The wind outside howled, and the snowstorm intensified, making it impossible for anyone to leave if they wanted to. The scratching noise came again, louder this time, like nails scraping against glass. Lily screamed from her room, her cry echoing through the cabin. Tom and his wife Sarah rushed in. Lily was standing by her window, frozen in fear, pointing toward the glass. "He's out there, I saw him," she whispered. Tom, exasperated, looked out again and froze. Footprints. Clear as day, they were visible in the snow outside, leading right up to the window. Human footprints, too fresh to be from before the storm. Tom locked all the doors and windows, ensuring they were secure. But as he walked back to the living room, he saw something that made his blood run cold. Written on the window in what looked like frost or condensation was a single word. Soon. Panic set in. Who was out there? Why were they watching the house? Tom turned off all the lights, hoping to keep their home concealed in the storm, but it was too late. The sound of heavy footsteps echoed on the porch outside, slowly circling the cabin. Something was walking around, methodically checking every window, every door. Sarah called the police, but the nearest town was over an hour away, and the snowstorm had made it impossible for anyone to reach them. Then came the knock. Slow, deliberate. Tap, tap, tap. Each knock was followed by a long pause, as if whoever was outside was savoring the moment. Tom grabbed a fireplace poker and crept toward the front door, heart pounding in his chest. He flung the door open, swinging the poker wildly into the night air, only to find nothing. No one was there. But as he looked down, he saw the footprints again, leading away from the house and disappearing into the woods. The police arrived the next morning, but there were no signs of the intruder, only the unsettling memory of those footprints and the eerie message left behind. No one in the Jacobs family ever returned to that cabin again. Story 2. The Christmas Tree Incident. In 2013, a single mother named Jenna decided to make Christmas extra special for her 7-year-old son, Max. Living in a small apartment in a city where holiday cheer was scarce, she wanted to bring the magic of Christmas to life. So she splurged on the biggest Christmas tree she could find, bringing it home to surprise Max. It was a beautiful, towering tree, with thick green branches and a perfect shape, as if plucked right out of a winter wonderland. Max was ecstatic. They decorated it with lights, ornaments, and candy canes. It filled their tiny living room with the fresh, earthy scent of pine, and at night it sparkled with soft, glowing lights. But as soon as the tree was set up, strange things began happening. The first sign was the ornaments. They started moving. At first, Jenna thought she was just imagining things. She'd leave the room, only to return and find the ornaments in different positions. Sometimes, they would be on different branches entirely. Max claimed that he saw something moving inside the tree. "It's probably a squirrel or something," Jenna said, though she knew that was impossible. They lived on the 15th floor of an apartment building, and there was no way an animal could have climbed into their home unnoticed. Then came the rustling. Late at night, when everything was quiet, Jenna would hear a faint sound coming from the tree. A soft, crackling noise, like something crawling through the branches. She checked it repeatedly, but found nothing. On Christmas Eve, as Max was asleep and the city outside their window was peaceful, Jenna sat on the couch, staring at the tree. The soft glow of the lights gave the room a warm, cozy feel, but something was off. The rustling sound returned, louder this time. She stood up and approached the tree, her heart beating faster. As she reached out to touch one of the branches, something darted out from the tree. It moved so fast she barely saw it, but whatever it was knocked over an ornament. Jenna screamed, backing away. The ornament rolled across the floor and stopped at her feet. And then she saw it, a pair of glowing eyes deep within the branches of the tree, staring back at her. Terrified, Jenna grabbed Max and fled the apartment, not daring to return until the next morning. When she came back with a maintenance worker, the tree stood undisturbed, but as the man began taking it down, a small, rotten bundle fell out from between the branches. Inside was the decayed body of a bird, tangled in its nest, long dead. Yet the glowing eyes Jenna had seen were too large, too real to be from a mere bird. She moved out of the apartment soon after, forever haunted by the sight of those eyes that had watched her through the branches of her once beautiful tree. Story 3. The Stranger at the Window. The Hartman family lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood, where every house was lit up with festive Christmas decorations. It was the perfect place for their 2 children, Ella and Jack, to grow up. But one Christmas Eve in 2007, a terrifying event would change the way they looked at the holiday forever. It began with a harmless knock at the door. Standing on the porch was a man dressed as Santa Claus, a long, scraggly white beard hanging from his chin. He smiled warmly, his eyes hidden behind small, round glasses. "Merry Christmas," he said. "I'm here to spread some holiday cheer." The Hartmans, assuming it was a neighbor or a hired entertainer, invited him in. He played with the kids, gave them candy, and even posed for pictures. But there was something off about him. His smile was too wide, his laugh too loud. And his hands were dirty, with long, unkempt nails. After about 20 minutes, the man abruptly stood up, saying he had to visit other houses. The Hartmans, relieved to see him go, thanked him, and watched as he disappeared into the night. But that wasn't the end of it. Later that evening, as the kids were asleep and the parents were preparing for bed, they heard a tapping at the window. They pulled back the curtains to see the same man standing outside in the snow, staring at them. Panicked, they called the police. But by the time officers arrived, the man was gone. They searched the neighborhood but found no sign of him. The Hartmans were told to lock their doors and windows and stay inside. The next morning, Christmas Day, they found something chilling. Footprints in the snow, leading from their house to every window, as if the man had been circling their home all night, watching them through the glass. Worst of all, on the back patio, written in the snow, were the words, "See you next year." The Hartmans never celebrated Christmas in that house again. To this day, they never found out who the man was or why he targeted their family. But every year around Christmas, they still get a strange feeling, as if they're being watched from the shadows. Christmas, a time of joy and family, is often seen as a holiday of warmth and happiness. But for these families, the holiday season became a time of dread, when the ordinary and the festive transformed into something much darker, something they would never forget.